Hello and welcome to another Organisation Spotlight, something we haven't done for quite a while now. I'm here with the org SynCronus, and I've got a couple of their members here. Would you like to introduce yourselves and sort of tell me what you do in your org?
I'm Connacht 007. I am the Fleet Admiral, all-around head honcho.
And I'm Hyperion, his number 2 pretty much.
Okay, so you're like a small, medium-sized org. You've got around 70 members. And this sort of org represents what I would say is a newer generation of organisation in Star Citizen. So we've got some of the really, really old organisations. You're relatively new. Can you give me this sort of what SynCronus are about, the recruitment blurb, if you will?
Yeah, so we've played together for several years in other orgs, and we kind of just decided to steer our own ship fairly recently. We've got, I'd say, like 50 actives, but the community, you know how people cycle in and out. Mm-hmm. Community is probably 3 times that size. You know, our blurb is that, you know, we want to achieve success in the game. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to, you know, continual learning atmosphere. But the bottom line is you only keep what you defend. So we are pretty combat oriented, especially at the moment, because that's sort of just what the game offers, you know.
Okay, and you say you're combat orientated there, so is that a lot of PvP focused gameplay that you're planning to go into and that you're into at the moment? And is that going to be lawful or non-pirate, or you sort of everything goes?
Yeah, so we call ourselves freelancers. We're definitely not pirates. So, I don't know. Hyperion will speak a little bit about our ethos, but my version of it, long story short, is that we just don't really get our jollies from ruining people's day in game. So, you know, we've got rules of engagement and all that kind of stuff that we, you know, flex because we also like to hit brios like every other org does, you know.
So would you like to tell me a little bit more about your ethos then?
Yeah, take it away, Hyperion.
So to go off of what Connacht is saying, as far as freelancing, and one of the things that we're big on is growing as the game grows. One of the things you'll notice is that a lot of orgs, they come up very quickly and then they fizzle, and it's mainly because you know, they theory craft themselves into oblivion, like I like to say. So they make expectations based off of what's being said, but you know, the pace at which the game is being developed doesn't necessarily keep people's interest.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. With us being such a diverse org, right, spanning several countries, right, it's really UK and US heavy right now. A lot of prior military, former military, and just all around, just people from all walks of life. We tend to, if something new comes up, I mean, combat is an inevitable part of Star Citizen. However, that doesn't have us shy away from doing things like salvage ops and mining ops and trading and just general fleet maneuvers.
It's really like Star Trek. I mean, both in structure and in sort of philosophy, and but it's more like Janeway's Voyager type of Star Trek.
Yes. So with that, you know, I think a lot of people, especially anybody that's played space games for any amount of time, whether you like Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever, you know, that model of the abilities of the group are stronger than the abilities of the individual is something that we definitely go by, right? We don't typecast people into doing certain things, but we definitely do believe in synergy, groups of people that work well together and not necessarily forced to do you know, this one thing. Like, you know, if you are on a crew and you only do engineering, like, you pretty much get in where you fit in. But there's absolutely a hierarchy with the way that we do things in the org, and then with captains and their crews, there's definitely a pecking order, if you will.
I thought that was very interesting what you were saying about orgs getting theory crafted into oblivion, or and that sort of stuff, because I do totally agree with you where organizations very much, they join an org because they want to play in the dream game, but they want to play in that now. They want to play with that org gameplay that's planned now. and then life happens, or someone that's in that org for a couple of years that's only getting a limited amount of gameplay will be like, that will fizzle out. So if we joined you for a sort of session or whatever, how does that work? Like, is your org really active all the time? Are you jumping in doing hunting down bounties? Are you sort of defending the people because you say you want to whatever you can protect, you can keep kind of thing? Like, how's that working if we were playing today?
Well, I'll be honest with you. So our org is pretty consistent with the amount of people online, but it ebbs and flows, as Connex said, with real life happening with people. People have families and jobs and all that kind of stuff. So, but it's pretty active. I mean, to if you were to jump in on any given night, Connect will be there, or I'll be there, or we'll both be there, and about a good sizable amount of people. But depending on a lot of the gameplay that we do happens organically. We do have planned events and things that happen, whether they're trainings or specific events set up for brios or salvaging, like I stated before. But a lot of the gameplay happens organically. When Jumptown was on, a lot of the play was focused on Jumptown, but it wasn't like, hey, we're going to Jumptown and let's keep it. It was like, all right, we're going to Jumptown, and next thing you know, we're helping people out, and other people from the server are joining, and it just became much like Jumptown was originally, very organic, with people taking sides and organizing defenses or attacks depending on who had Jumptown at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways we approach it. So part of our sort of officer expectations is that you're gonna post maybe an event every couple of weeks, and that's something people can see in Discord and plan for on their calendars, and we're gonna go rock brios for a while, or we're gonna do a 20-man salvage op. And as far as where we are now, it's currently, we tend to try to coordinate that way. Then there's the organic stuff. Typically, because we're so small right now, the most you'd see online is 18, and that would generally be Friday, Saturday evening your time, after people's kids go to bed in the UK, because we're mostly young guys in our 30s. We have young families, and so we plan around it that way. But that is one of the main things I'd ask for in anybody that applies. A couple of 4-hour, because it takes so long to do anything in this game, a couple of 4-hour sessions a week is probably where we want our org and therefore our people to be at.
Okay, and is that sort of like, is that minimum, or is that like sometimes flexible? It's reasonable for some people to miss out those sometimes.
Well, I would say definitely to double down on that. That is definitely it's not a deal breaker, right? But it's more of a want, but not necessarily a need, because we're very much understanding that people have other jobs. Like I myself am active duty U.S. military, so my schedule is very much so dictated by the military. So I can't necessarily always commit to that, depending on what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely flexible. It's kind of, I have to set a ballpark, and I think that's probably like a healthy amount of game time. We have people who play 8 hours a day. We have people who only have time to pop in and say hi for 5 minutes a day. It's more about people than the principle in that respect,
Okay, so we've touched on this a little bit already, but who does your org sort of suit? What sort of players do you want to join it? What sort of gameplay can they expect? Are there sort of opportunities to do industry gameplay with mining and salvage and cargo, or is it much more focused at that combat?
Yeah, so this is a good place to talk about sort of the nuts and bolts and structure. Crews, we're organized similar to Star Trek with captains and crews. So if you imagine that first Star Trek remake, or maybe it was the second one actually, Into Darkness, where they're all sitting around the captain's table and they get annihilated. That's what I would like the top of SynCronus to be like. But
without the assassination,
without all of the hopefully we wouldn't get incited like that and just obliterated, right? But most orgs seem to like structure themselves, and we've played in them before, and it's common across games too. But they seem to structure themselves around these game loops. So, mining, salvage, and cargo might be, the industry division, and PVE is exploration, and PvP is the military, or what have you. And there are a million different ways to organize people in SC, right? Because it's so complicated compared to most games, but we don't think segmenting people by gameplay style or content type is functionally effective or sort of socially workable or optimal anyway. So for starters, most people tend to be generalists in this game, right? Nothing is so complicated in SC currently or probably in the future that you can't do it all with a reasonable level of effectiveness. And then secondly, people's lives don't revolve around what we want them to do in SC. I would love, with my personality type, to put everybody in a neat little box and know exactly who to go to and what they're going to know how to do or be responsible for. But, you know, at the end of the day, effective teaming and productive environment and buzzword are a couple of our top priorities. And that just requires good leadership. So that's why you need a good leader, a good captain, and that requires more than just knowing where the good rocks are and what laser to zap them with. So we're very much structured again around people and personalities rather than gameplay type or your loop or whatever term you want to use for that.
You're going to be touching on sort of all the gameplay then, is what I'm sort of saying there.
Yeah, I mean, we want multifunctional crews. So we want each group of people to be able to be successful no matter what the context or the environment is. And who we think lead those is not going to be, oh, he's an absolute whiz on the mining laser or he's the best ace pilot.
Is there anything prohibitive though for your org? So are you saying no pirates, no sort of outlaws? Where are the restrictions?
We don't get our jolly, so to speak, from ruining somebody's day. Yes, piracy is a part of Star Citizen, but that's not something that it's not something that we focus around.
To answer your question directly, we are not going to pirate people. I think there's going to be enough sort of real fights to engage in that we won't need to do that. If our members want to have an alt and go murder hobo, that's the way to do that, and it only costs you $45 or 75 to get an arrow or whatever your chosen method of destruction is. With us being big on unity and solidarity, the other side of that is that reputation is going to mean a lot in this game, and killing the wrong person could get you slapped by a 6,000 member org. So we don't think piracy is fun. We don't enjoy pulling wings off a fly, the C2 pilot, and we don't think it's bang for the buck the best way to go. We want to have our own miners and traders. We don't see much benefit in piracy per se.
And how is your org sort of going to deal with future sort of evolution? So how democratic is it? Is it sort of like, actually, no, it's one person, you yourselves, you're the ones that decide the rules, but you just listen to your members and that helps sort of inform you? How's that going to work?
Yeah, so a strong point to make is that Synchronus is a dictatorship, not a democracy. People sometimes, and this is my own, this is me walking my own balance, but I get a ton of feedback. I'm probably too transparent for Hyperion's liking. I'm a bit of an open book because I care about what my dudes and the few dudettes in there think and want to do. But we've also built in this crew structure because as we expand, we want people to be able to, group up and provide a space for the cliques that will inevitably form and function together. So it's a bit of a modular system, to use a military buzz term there. But at the same time, I will retain oversight of, at the highest level, who the captains are. And then also, if they're setting up a system or a type of gameplay or a leadership structure or a membership that I don't like, I'm going to have veto power on that, and Hyperion will, as my right hand.
Okay, so I'm sort of interested to know how you see your members acting. I suppose you want non-chaotic members. You want members that can follow orders, that want to work together, that sort of are focused on the goals of whatever you're doing at the time, right?
Well, yes, but I mean, let's make no mistake. The overall goal is to not have robots, right? We still want people to come in and be themselves. I mean, we are probably some of the biggest jokesters, right? Just sitting around and just joking while doing things. But people that understand that when it's go time, it's go time. When we're doing something, when we have a goal in mind, let's accomplish that goal. No over talking. In the middle of doing something is not the time to debate it. That happened. All that happens during the planning phase. To be clear, all the members have a voice, but the direction that we go in, I mean, ultimately falls to Connacht and at times myself.
Yeah, it's the way I put it is I'm never gonna force anybody to show up for an event or punish them for not being able to make it. But when you sign up for an event, for example, in Discord or whatever org tools we get down the line from CIG, if you commit to something, I would expect you to show up geared, on time, sober enough to execute, and ready to go. So if you show up with bells on, and if you don't, that's fine. But there's an administrative burden sort of to having a huge org. And if you're never contributing to what we're doing, like say we're going to build a base on a moon on Tuesday, and we've built 100 of them and you haven't been to any one of them, people are going to notice. So if you're not a group player, then maybe we'll have a crew for that. But part of being in a dynamic social group is contributing to the level that you're comfortable with, that that you like, and in the way that you like. So yeah, that's basically that in a long, large nutshell.
That's quite interesting. How big do you want your org to be? How big can it get before you go, well, actually, this is the maximum level we want it?
People have been asking me that since before I founded SynCronus, and I still don't have a good answer other than to say I think I'll know it, I'll feel it when we cross that threshold. When I feel like I no longer know my captains and their second rank and their third rank and their maybe even their fourth rank, then I think we're losing community. There's a balance in all things, right? And you want to have enough community with enough solidarity, with enough flexibility, and it's tough to say 2,000 members is going to be there, but at the same time we want enough scale that we can protect our people, right? From all the murder hobos and evil bastards that are being swimming through space when this game really gets going.
Okay, yeah. So do you have a plan for how you're going to evolve sort of into the future? Do you have plans for gameplay in the way that you see that Star Citizen's going to evolve, or are you literally just going, we'll come to that bridge once we actually see where the development's going? Sort of how long do you see your org lasting for? Is it this sort of like a permanent org throughout the whole of Star Citizen's development and its release?
So one of the biggest things is just kind of go back when I said about orgs theory crafting themselves into oblivion. One of the biggest one of the biggest driving forces that we tend to go by is having the org evolve as the game does. That helps us maintain flexibility, and we don't spreadsheet and doctrine ourselves into a corner, right? When things don't happen the way they're supposed to, or CIG said one thing and then they go another direction with it, or people thought that gameplay was going to be this and then it turns out to be something different. So as the game develops, we develop. I Connacht and myself talk about this all the time. We're kind of in it for the long haul to see where the game ends up. But
yeah, with the amount of money we've spent, I'm in it for the next 20 years if the game stays up.
Absolutely. So it's it's just kind of one of those things where we we go as the game goes, to maintain effectiveness as an organization, right? There's so many orgs that are inactive, or they were created and now they're just in a holding pattern until the game gets to a point where they feel as though they can be effective, right? But if you don't kind of stay on top of what CIG are doing with Star Citizen, you'll be behind, right? Think about all the orgs that aren't doing anything right now, and master modes is coming up and engineering and all this kind of stuff, and their members haven't been active in forever. And yeah, they may watch a video or two, but if they're not in practice with this stuff, and they'll definitely be behind the power curve when they come back to the game, and it's inevitably something completely different than what they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the answer of how long is, for me, has always been it depends. Like every year I've always thought CIG was going to run out of money. And it looks like now, maybe they won't. One thing is that down all the way from me down to like the basic crewman level, like what we call our full members. One of the things I like about having a real chain of command is that if I need to cycle out, I could fall off a cliff tomorrow and Hyperion's got the bag. And if Hyperion decided he was going to go live in a cave, then the next guy is on down there. Cisco is our one and only captain right now, but I hope to have 12, and then things would continue. One of the things this game has showed me is that people are going to cycle out, and that's another point of org failure. So even if something happened to me, I would hope that SynCronus, with all the time that we've all spent as a group building this community, even though the game isn't out yet, that SynCronus would remain after I was gone. So indefinite would be the one-word answer to the how long are we in it for question.
Okay. Out of curiosity, can a member of your org also be a member of another org, or is your org sort of the main org that they'd have to be part of?
Well, we switched to exclusive a couple of months ago. We have tons of affiliates and we have tons of guests. The difference being that one is on the RSI site and one is not. That's part of the reason our Discord is much larger than our membership. But we have a second level of comms so that we're open to people who want to hang out, and we're also open to people who want to be more committed, and have some sort of loose expectation that they're going to contribute however they want to contribute to the org. But right now, because we're a small team and we have limitations on how many people we can get in and get motivated and get acquainted, we would just be looking for full members currently, for the foreseeable future.
And is that primarily in the UK, US, English speaking, or is that kind of within any time zone?
Any time zone, but unfortunately, if you don't speak English, you're not going to be able to communicate with anyone here. So that would be a de facto requirement, I suppose.
Yeah. No problem. Is there anything else that you want to talk about what the org does, or how it does it, or its sort of plans?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, I realize that I'm sitting here actively asking people to come join us and then saying, but, I want you to play a lot, but I want you to, show up and help out. I don't want to come off as that kind of douchebag. I think I just wanted to express that if we, for some reason, get 2,000 applications, we're planning on processing them slowly so that we can do a little bit of get to know you, or you could call it quality control or whatever you want. So if you apply and you don't hear from us or you don't get accepted right away, that doesn't mean that your application was crappy or something. It just means that we're going to try to do this managed growth thing to avoid some of the pitfalls we've seen with orgs that let themselves go mega overnight. So I guess it's just an appeal to be patient and understanding as far as us trying to cope with growth in a way that we think is safe, because the bottom line there is that we don't want to do our current members a disservice by letting in a horde and then within 2 weeks it's not synchronous anymore.
And out of curiosity, sort of ship-wise, the sort of gameplay in combat that you're going for, is that going to be more capital ship orientated, more fighter orientated, or is it quite versatile? You've got quite a lot of ships and stuff and combat that you want to sort of do.
Yeah, we are pretty good on ships. What do you think, Hyperion? I think we've got it all.
Yeah. If there's a ship to be had in Star Citizen, we have it. However, there is it's more versatile. We don't really say, hey, we're only you can only use fighters, or hey, you can only use capital ships. I mean, there's a gameplay niche for all of that, right? A bit of theory crafting. The gameplay is not going to be just two orgs and Idris duking it out with no fighter support or none of that. So there's going to be there's a role for everyone, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to. No surprise, I want to play a little armchair general, right? That's why I spend 3 hours a day on Discord managing the folks. And I wouldn't want to have anything missing, for selfish reasons, and I wouldn't want to have any piece missing for the peeps. So definitely everything. The reason we are structured and a little bit combat focused now, again, is just because you need that efficiency for combat where you don't need it for shooting rocks with lasers, and that's pretty much, and because the gameplay sort of is pretty PvP focused until we get science and crafting and all the stuff that a lot of our current members obviously are sitting there drooling over.
If there's a ship that someone wants to use and they don't have it, I am willing to put money on the fact that we have it and you can try it and use it.
Yeah.
To see if you actually want to purchase it.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about your org or what you guys do?
I just kind of want to say, again, I know we went through all the minutia of what the org is about, and kind of got down to the nitty gritty somewhat. But the biggest thing that we really want to put out there is that we are a group of individuals that like to play together, and to whatever superficial degree we know each other, right? There are real friendships that developed amongst us, and that's something that's important to us, as far as people that you choose to spend a large amount of time with.
Yeah, I mean, we're mostly young men. We got some old crusty folks too. We're crass, we're lewd, we're like most gamer orgs in that respect. I think, if that sounds like a good fit for you, we'd love to have you, even if it takes us 2 months to get you in here. I do have a couple of sign off points.
Please do. Go ahead.
Pretty much everything I went on and on about here is outlined in our RSI page, and we have a charter in Discord that you can read on day one that lays everything out more clearly. And when you write your application, if you do on RSI, don't skimp. If you have the ability to show me who you are rather than maybe just what you want to do, if you have an ability to show me who you are in your writing, please do so, because I'm going to read them all, and I'm interested in getting all the folks in here that are good fits and that want to help out, because I'm super excited about Synchronous. I tend to be sort of minutia focused, but I think we have a great base going here, and I think we're finally at a point where the game is going to balloon content wise and even quality of life wise. And then the last thing, sort of related, one of my SV mantras is people and principle over size and status. I want everyone here to be my friend first and my org member second. And that's probably not realistic with the kind of scale I want us to achieve. But if you think you know what I'm getting at here, you're likely going to fit in well at Synchronous.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me. This was the org Synchronous. And if you think that you're a good fit or you've got more questions, please chuck them in the video comments below. We also have links to all of those sort of org pages and anything else that I can find that I think is relevant. Can I chuck your Discord and stuff in there as well, or is that something you give to people after they've applied?
That I'll reach out to people based on what they put in the application for.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for joining me. You guys take care, and thanks for everyone else for watching. The giant ape climbed the skyscraper, swatting at helicopters that harassed him. You look up at the massive 50-foot creature of muscle and hair. He's got you firmly in his grasp. Any more pressure and you'd snap like a twig. He brings you to his mouth, and then you realise you should have got yourself nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. It would have provided you security and anonymity, preventing the great ape from finding you, but also accessibility to some of your favourite shows. Check out the links below for a massive discount and to help support the channel. Talking about supporting the channel, you can help by pressing that join button under my videos or even becoming a Patreon with the links below again. That goes a long way to helping us make daily Star Citizen content. A massive thank you to everyone that does that already or supports the channel in other ways like commenting, liking and sharing videos. We are just about to hit 200,000 subscribers, which is awesome, seeing we are a niche Star Citizen dedicated channel. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For January 2024, we are giving away a Drake Corsair. This is a very popular multi-role and multi-crew explorer ship that is very good at a huge range of stuff in the verse. It also comes with lifetime insurance and a game package, all you need to play Star Citizen, and all you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during this month. More details in the video description. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my channel and other videos on there as well, and I'll see you in the verse.